Hello, and welcome to Stop Now, a social experiment enterprise where we stop, listen, and share. Welcome back, everyone. I'm one of your hosts, Nate. So glad to be able to join you once again here for our talk show here at Stop Now. And we've got a really interesting, informative discussion this week. But before we get to our special guest, let me bring in uh, one of our new team members, one of our favorite team members, dare I say. Ladies and gentlemen, Walter is with us this week. Walter, how are you, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Walter. I'm doing well. My voice is still holding up.
Mm.
I don't think my voice has recovered from the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl party. It's still a couple weeks later. I feel like my voice is still on the mend, but that's okay because we do have a really informative topic this week. And finally, let me introduce the man behind the mask, the man behind the scenes, the voice of the voiceless. He is our I guess you could say he's like our James Gunn. You know what I mean? He's our Ryan Coogler. He's the director. He's our Martin uh,
Scorsese.
Scorsese, if you will. JK is here. JK, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Nate. Again, you are trying to pull my leg. I understand that, right? Walter is already pissed off with me with all the trouble I'm giving him with the experiment and in the experiment lab. Our entire team is working hard and really
Mm,
pulling this up, doing a good work, and I appreciate. And this is going to be a very explosive episode, one of the best, I would say, because
mm.
we have a special guest who might blow our mind. What we were looking for so long. I don't want to call that. He's not a victim, and I don't see that. But let's welcome him, bring him in, and ask his story,
Mm.
and then let's do the show how it turns out.
Yes, JK, as you mentioned, one of the things that we always want to do here at Stop Now is give a voice to those who have come through some of these situations and dealt with some of these unfair policies. And one of the big things we always talk about here is the H-1B visa program. And so we are excited and we are proud to bring on our guest this episode. Krishna is here to share his story. Krishna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate your opportunity and giving this opportunity to kind of speak up and share my voice here. But I mean, technically, I'm not sure how you kind of put this, but I just want to bring up my story to
Mhm.
get some support and your perspective of this program for me to better understand where I am since I started on this program. Thank you.
Mm. No, thank you for sharing your time with us and sharing your story. And a lot of the viewers, people that watch our episodes here at Stop Now, they are becoming more educated about this H-1B visa program. But there's still so much that a lot of folks out there don't know. So I guess maybe start kind of at the beginning of your story and what this process was kind of like for you.
Yeah, I mean, to start with, initially, I mean, I applied. I came from South Africa,
Mhm.
Johannesburg. So initially, when I applied for this visa, I thought it is like a general kind of a work permit. That's what they call in South Africa. So with that work permit, you can work for any employer. There is no restriction as such that we have, like in H-1B. There are so many things. So there, if you get a work permit, if you're on a quota work permit, you can go to any client. If they like you, they can hire you and you can work on that permit under their payroll directly. I mean, it's you can work for any employer of your choice, whether it's a consulting firm or a client directly. So there is no restriction. But I didn't understand all this, the whole picture of H-1B, how it works and all that. But my visa was picked in a lottery, basically. So I got it in a lottery. So I mean, as a person from outside US, when you get a chance to work in US, you are definitely very excited. Not just me, any person is very excited to go there, and maybe learn new cultures. Whatever you feel comfortable, learn new cultures, learn new techniques, technology, and all this. Uh, I mean, that's what we aim for when we go to a different country, right? So that was my kind of perspective when I initially got this visa. So, but after coming here, I mean, I didn't understand the system at all for at least 4 to 5 years.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
just just going through. Everybody says this is the process. This is the process. So I followed every rule. I respected every rule. Because I had always respect to the law.
Mhm.
Because everything in US especially works with the law, right? Everything there is a law, so everyone follows the law. Also, in the keeping that in mind, everyone whatever they say, I listen to them. I thought like, oh, this is the system, then you should follow. But as I progressed along the line, like after spending 5 6 years, I got to know so many things from my own research. It's not I listened to other people so far, but I did my own research also, just to get some better understanding
Mhm.
of this atmosphere, right? So, I mean, whenever I do some research and also listen to people, they don't match most of the time. So then that's what kept me in some kind of that dragged my interest, to find out curiosity, basically, to find
Mm.
out what is true, right? So, but yeah, that's where I started my research, to kind of getting to know things, getting to know all the rules and regulations around
Mhm.
this program, and also the laws of the United States, right? So that's where I spent a lot of time reading online blogs, reading a lot of different stories online when they post online,
Mhm.
their views and their experiences. So from that, I learned a lot. I mean, so that's how I spent a lot of time kind of on this research. But in the situation where I'm current, it is kind of, I don't know. I mean, whether I'm in a good situation or a bad situation.
Mhm.
But I want to understand, what this thing is all about, and maybe you can say, based on my situation, maybe you know better than me, so you can advise, at least.
Mhm.
Krishna, before I pitch in, right, I'll leave Nate and Walter to ask you the questions. So I just put it in the bracket that you, as you mentioned, you are on H-1B visa, and we are running a campaign on stopping that H-1B visa program, and we call that as a modern slavery. And I don't know whether you agree to it or not. My question is like, do you feel that like you are a victim and you want to be uh,
Mm.
cautious and your identity has to be protected? How do we uh, do this, right? Because we want to have a conversation. Nobody has so far volunteered to come forward and share their story, those who are on H-1B visa. So you are the first candidate. So that's why like those who have become a victim and they survived, we know, we have partnered with them, like Harold DeSosa. He's now a US citizen. That's a different story. That's why I'm asking you this question, because I don't want to put you in. What made you to volunteer now, come forward and share your story to the public? So that's my first question. And if you want, I can um, take out that H-1B part. Do you think you are a victim, or you?
uh, I mean, yeah, coming to your question, why did I come forward to speak, right? So, but after, I'm answering that question first. So, I mean, after this many years of working on this visa system, right? So I do feel that it is somewhere related to modern slavery. That's why I'm coming forward to speak about it, because I have an opportunity to speak. And from my own research, like I mentioned earlier, it exactly matches with your vision or your mission. So that's why I want to kind of speak about it. Yeah, and coming to the question about victimization, right? Yeah, I definitely feel in the situation where I am right now, I do feel like I'm a victim. Because I don't know, I mean, how do you see, or anyone else can see my situation? But based on my experience and the things that I've been through in all these 10 years, I do feel it. It's a kind of a modern slavery. I do feel it. It is a type of victimization.
I mean, it sounds to me, Krishna and Walter can hop in here in just a second, but it sounds like it is this system where there is opportunity, as you mentioned. Everybody would want to come to America to have the opportunity to work and improve their lives, improve their families' lives, but it's an opportunity that comes with a catch. You know what I mean? And it sounds like you were operating in this system for years that gave you a chance to come to America, but you never really were free in a sense. Am I putting words in your mouth, or is that kind of the experience for you?
Exactly. So, I mean, when you say free, right? United States is a country of freedom, right? It's a country of freedom, and
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it's a country of bravery and freedom. That's the two things should come to anyone's mind when you talk about US. But like you said, it's supposed to be, but I don't know in that when you say supposed to be, what are the other things that are causing it not to be free, right? But this is definitely one of those things. I can bring it, to say that this is not freedom. That's what I would say.
And we can start from the beginning. Can you tell our audience how long you've been working on the H-1B visa in the United States?
I've been working for last 10 years. So this is my 10th year. But I've been through, I mean, like I said, initially, I don't know anything about, right? I'm just listening to people and following all the rules. But as I ran into situation, I used to compare my situation in South Africa versus here. I don't see a lot of, I do see there is a lot of mismatch in terms of, your career growth, in terms of the type of opportunities you can opt for, in terms of when you want to change to a different employer also, there are so many constraints that drags you, and that puts you in a very uncomfortable position. So where you can't make decisions that easily.
Are you referring to the 60-day limit for finding a new position?
Yes, that is one of them. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, in 60 days, finding another job is not difficult, I would say. But even if you find a job, if you don't find a job, definitely you have to exit as the first step. Otherwise, it puts you in other complications where you will not get another H-1B. Even if you go, if you spend overtime and go out, and if you get another job, you want to come back at that point. Since you overstayed, it puts you in a bad shape to get a new visa. So they might deny you the entry at that point. So that is one thing. I mean, if you find a job, that is when you don't find a job and you overstayed, right? But if you find a job, so if you find a job, you switch to the new employer. but the employer might have policies in place, like you have to be with me for two years on my pay, so then only I can offer you a green card, right? I can start your green card process. So that is one of the policy I'm saying. So you switch to him and you have to stay with him for 2 years. So within that 2 years period, something happens. Let's say, I mean, they do understand your situation. Most of the companies do, but in a worst case scenario, I'm saying they don't understand you well, or maybe it's your manager is in a bad mood that day, so he fired you. Let's say he fired you, so you are back in the market and you are back on the road, and again your 60-day period starts again, right? So let's say it happened like 3 times. You keep changing employers. So what type of career advancement you're doing in those switching employers? You ending up in no place, and you're not finding a stable job for yourself. So when you don't have a stable job with one employer, obviously there is no career growth for you.
Yep.
So how this system is helping in that scenario? I'm just taking one simple example there, but there are so many other scenarios also.
So, just in terms of that situation, Krishna, like, can you talk a little bit about the stress that someone in this situation would go through? Because I think, anybody watching, can identify with just being stressed at work. That's a normal thing that happens to all of us. But when you put on top of that the stress that if I lose this job or have to find another job, I might not be allowed to stay in this country, or I might not be able to provide for my family. Can you talk a little bit about that stress?
Yeah, that stress is basically a nightmare. Okay, that is the word I take, because I've been in that situation. So let's say you are in a different city, you're working for an employer, and he really liked you, and he wants you kind of relocate to his place. I mean, to work him on full time. Okay, I'm taking that as a simple scenario. Okay, so at this point you have to think about things. If you have kids, you put them in a school, right? So now you have to move. So when you're moving, the first part is moving expenses. Okay. For that moving expenses also, there are certain policies in place in corporations. So they pay you part of it, and the remaining part, you need to be continuously employed with them in order to get that back. Okay. So that is, I have seen that policy. So that is the other case. I mean, that is financial thing. I don't talk about, but here I'm talking about the stress only. Okay. So in order for you to make the decision, you have to think around your family, your kids, and everything. So let's say you compromised on all these things, and you going to that town now, to new place, and you need to find the good school first thing. You need to find a good community where you feel secure, and if you want to find a secure community, it's not cheap in America, right? It's
No.
damn expensive, and especially when you want a good school with a good secure community, it's damn expensive. So if you are an employer, whoever sponsoring your visa can't pay you well, then you will run into a lot of overhead, definitely, right? So I mean, you can speak all those terms upfront with your employer, but you really like the job, maybe he can't pay you that much. He can offer you less. So in that scenario, you need to compromise with all your family related things, with the type of remuneration this new employer is offering. You need to kind of see that, where it fits in your decision making. So if everything fits, you have to compromise and go there. You made all these choices. Let's say you went to the new place, you like this opportunity, and you went there, everything went well, let's say. So again, there is something turned out down the line after a year, and maybe the management's changed in the company, right? So the new management came, and they see you are no longer. I mean, they see you like this position is no longer required in a sense. From their business analysis, they found out that this position, particular position, doesn't make sense. So let's say they laid you off. Okay, so at that point, you are basically again.
Krishna, sorry to interrupt. Right, I just have to stop you there. Right. So let's get back to see. These are scenarios you are saying, right? So it can happen to anyone. But my point is, right, it's a specialty occupation, right? H-1B is a highly skilled, and also millions of people wants to come to US, right? And it's an employer based. Sorry to interrupt you, right? Again, I'm trying to play a devil's advocate here, right? I'm trying to be.
Definitely.
It's an employer based visa, and it's a non-immigrant visa, right? Anyone who says that, like, I don't know about it, it's your fault, right? You cannot commit a crime and say like, oh, I didn't know that, like, it's a crime, right? So those who are coming from abroad, right, they know that, like, what is H-1B, right? Many of even the victims we speak with, like, they say like, oh, I didn't know that, like, I was hired and my employer sponsored, and you were brought in for a temporary visa, right? It's not a permanent resident. It's not a green card. You are not immigrating to US. That is clear. If people are not aware of that, then there is a systemic problem, I understand. But everyone who comes on that visa, they know that it's a temporary solution. They are going to stay here for 3 years or 6 years, whatever term. And also it is controlled by your employer, right?
Yep. I totally agree.
So knowing all that, people are willing to take that risk, thinking that, like, the dollar conversion or whatever that is, they think that they can have a better life, or hoping with the American dream, like your employer will sponsor you green card and you can become a citizen at a later point. You agree to it and come here. And then like, why do you feel that, like, it is being unjust and it is a slavery, and many people say, okay, it is an abuse. But if you notice that, like, many people have become CEOs coming through that route, right? I can name them. So it's working for many corporates. So that's why like people don't buy the storyline of, okay, I'm a victim and abuse. Of course, in any system, in any policy, there will be people who exploit it and they will abuse it. So my question to you, what exactly happened in your story, and why do you feel that, like, it is an abuse?
Okay, so I talked to that CEO scenario, right? So when someone came on this visa and become a CEO, right? So how many years do you think they worked with that employer to become a CEO of the company?
Maybe 10 years.
10 years, right? So in my scenario, I spent 10 years with the same employer. I'm not a CEO today. So how do you answer that question? Why I'm not a CEO today?
It depends on individual's potential, right? So how smart you are, how you can, again, it's a rat race, right? In the corporate ladder, not everybody gets to become a CEO, right? So what is your goal, right? Let's lighten this down, right? What is your goal in life then?
Yeah, the goal in life to have a better future and career-wise. And also, I agree, dollar is like super, it makes you rich in short time. This is this may be one of the shortest routes you can take to become rich in India. Okay. So I agree with that, but when you are in a profession like a tech industry, right? Your vision may not be always money, right? You may hope to have some career advancement, but I agree. I mean, to live in America, money is the top part that you need to look into. If you're not a money person, you can't live here. I do agree with that also. But for some people, money is not the only goal, right? They have certain aspirations. Like you're saying, you want to become a CEO, right? So after spending 10 years with a company, you're not a CEO. Means what that mean to you? You're not reaching your goals, right? At that point, how do you feel? You feel degraded, right? You feel like you spent 10 years of your life something that is useless, right? So that's my point, what I want to make, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I
so-
understand, right, Krishna? Again, the entrepreneurial mindset, America welcomes people to do business, and there is a controversy over there. I don't know whether you know that or not. Even if you are on H-1B visa, you can do business. You can be on your own. And why do you cling to the job and to the same employer and waiting for that? You should have explored other opportunities, right? Other ways to
Sir.
become an immigrant.
Yes, yeah, for your information, I do have my own business. Okay, I tell you why. What are the challenges in that business, right? So when you open a business, you need to go through a lot of things, such as your eligibility. First thing. So I did consulted lawyers before opening that business also. I mean, it's not operating here, the business, no operation, zero operations here, but we want to operate in, US dollar. So that's why we just kind of opened a, kind of a, what do you call, empty office here with an operation overseas, just to kind of collaborate and trade in US dollars, right? So I mean, there also I did tried that opportunity, but it didn't work. I don't know. It's maybe it's I didn't plan well, or there are some other reasons why it didn't click, right? So I don't want to kind of talk too much on that, but I'm telling you that I did try that. Okay, so what are the other options that you were saying? Like trying a business is one thing. What else I can do on H-1B? Can you tell me?
No, I mean, not just on H-1B, right? I mean, what is your story specifically, right? So you said like you have been on H-1B for 10 years. My understanding, you cannot be on H-1B for more than 6 years. So which means your employer has sponsored you for the green card. So you are on the immigration and the permanent resident backlog.
Yes, exactly. So during this time, what else you can do? Unless I mean, other than working for your employer, what else you can do? Can you suggest few things? Can you do a side hustle, for example? So while you're working for your employer, you are interested in some other aspects. Let's say you have a special skill where you can work part time and make money on that. Can you do that on H-1B?
You can, if you file your taxes, yeah. I don't think there's any reason that would keep you from doing that.
You all you need to do, you have to show that income on your W-2.
Right. Or
That's what I'm
1099
saying.
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Krishna, let me, again, the controversy, as I mentioned, right? The controversy is like, as you and many people believe that, right? So even attorneys mention that, like we have our own attorneys who also say that, no, when you are on H-1B visa, you cannot do any business. And the other side of it, as you mentioned, right? People who are on H-1B visa, they can also do business because America welcomes investment, right? If you are a business owner, you are putting in money, right? So it has nothing to do with your non-immigrant visa status. As you asked, right, what you can do based on your skill, your interest, you are on immigration petition, right? You have moved from non-immigrant to immigrant status, but still that is on the backlog because of your nationality, and it is going to take long. So that is a policy decision for the Congress and all that politics that is happening to work that out, right? So we are not going into that specifically, right? So with your thing, right, if you are on the immigration path while working with your employer, you can change the employer, or you can partner with somebody else who can fast track you, get you with the investment money, like to a green card in a shorter span. So many options are there. Or even you can get married to a American citizen and become
Yeah, I tried that too. To be honest, I tried that too.
Mm,
The race is a damn thing, right? The race comes in the middle, and so many people are there without a husband. But when you try to marry them, but they don't like because you are from a different race.
mm.
Your beliefs are different, so they don't like you. So I'm just giving an example there also. Okay.
So you ran out of all the options. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm just explored everything from A to
Mhm,
Z to see what are all these things in this program, what
mhm.
you can do, what you can't do. So I know, I mean, it's a good conversation that we're having, but it helps me also to understand maybe the things I don't understand, right?
So overall, Krishna, in your opinion, is this a good program that needs fixing, or is it a bad program and we should have another option for folks that want to come to America to work?
I mean, I do see it is a good program. It started with a good intention to help
Mhm,
America and also America help the world, right? And attract these talented people from everywhere. But from the time they started to where it is now, there are so many things happened in between that basically collapsed that program overall. And whenever they see a loophole, the government wants
mm,
to fix it, and they started a new class, and then they find another loophole. So these two people keep fighting each other, then they made a mess out of it. So right now, people who are struggling are the actual beneficiaries who are coming through this program.
And are you referencing the cap number being too low currently? Because it's at one point it was up to 195,000 a year, and now it's 65,000 a year plus 20,000 people with advanced degrees. Are you think the cap is too low, or what do you feel is the issue with that right now?
I'm not sure about the cap because my situation was I know people who tried multiple times. They
mhm,
are unlucky because their petition not picked in a lottery or some other reasons, right? But I don't want to talk about the cap, but definitely these country-based queues, right? They are very long. I mean, especially for India and China,
mhm,
they are kind of. There is no way that a person on employment-based visa, such as H-1B, can get his green card in his lifetime. Okay,
Oh
so
wow.
it's that long. It's that long right now. So I mean, there is like if you see that thing, definitely you have to make a decision, right? Whether to stay here like this forever, since you're not, since your queue is long, you know that there is for you there is no chance of getting the green card soon. So you have to decide whether you want to spend your whole life working in the same job, doing the same duties forever without any other options. So you have to
Mm,
compromise, right? So it's kind of restricting your life altogether.
mm.
So you have to think about that also, right? So
Well,
I'm just giving one more example there.
Krishna, so what is your next strategy? Again, some of are not good options. Many people say this, right? Even one other attorney, she said this, like when we interviewed her, right? She mentioned that, like, why don't you try if you are being abused by an employer? In your case, it is not being abused, right? Because you are with the same employer and more than 10 years, you are waiting on the backlog with the green card process. So
Mhm.
puts you uh, in a different
Okay.
ballgame.
In that, I just pause here for a minute because I want to talk something. Okay. So in that scenario, right? So I'm in the backlog. I'm doing well with my
Mhm,
employer, and everything is right, right? So there is a incident that happened in 2017, 2018, right before the pandemic. because I'm in the green card queue, and I applied for extension to USCIS, CIS, right? And they looked at the W-2s from my employer, and they found some anomaly or something else they don't like. So they halted my extension for 3 years. Okay. So since I'm working all these years, and you stop processing my visa for 3 years, those 3 years, I'm stuck to my what do you call, um, I stuck here to my decisions to stay at the same client, because I can't move the job, because if I move up from that job, right, there is a chance of getting a denial, right? Because I'm no longer employed at that client. So you halted the process for 3 years, have to stay there for 3 years, battling with the people, management, and everyone. I have to sit there, go there to protect my status. So you need to think about that situation also. Let's say in those 3 years you got fired.
Again, I need to stop here. So are you saying that like your employer is abusing the system, trapping you by filing some wrong petition or application with USCIS?
That is possible. That is possible. I don't say it's my employer doing it right now, because they might having their own story to tell there, right? Because I don't know the clear picture.
Yes, Krishna, right? So here, CAS doesn't discriminate on you, right? There are millions of petitions being filed by every other employers, right? They go by the rule book and they process it. Policy decision brought by the US government because of the politics, that impacts, right? In your case, as you are saying, right? So US was like put on hold for various reasons, and your employer might have threatened you, like if you quit, or not threatened, like they might have said nicely, right? So if you leave us and try to move to some other employer, it might not be approved, and what you're going to do that in that case, right? So all these things are hypothetical position, right? It is not. So that's why, like, I'm asking you, are you willing to share any of these documents to our audience, so that we will know that like there is a systemic abuse happening in your case? Because everything has been dealt on case by case basis, right? Because we cannot go class action suit. And again, some people are trying to do that as well, right? To expose, stop H-1B abuse, and they are forming at least thousands of people have to come forward and say to the government, saying that this is happening. Just one here and there cases saying that, oh, my employer abused, then you become a victim. They will provide you an option to file for T visa or U visa, and you are being trafficked and held against your wish by your employer and forced you, coercion and indebted, bonded labor kind of thing. If you can establish those things in a document, then you will get those visas, and US government will protect you. But then
definitely to match that scenario, right? I don't know what type of document I need to provide, but I do have all the documents. But in my case, may not meet that criteria, because I don't know what exactly you want to see in my documents that can match your criteria.
Right. In terms of, again, I have to pause you, right? So I am trying to get this right for our audience as well, and also try to help you, right? So you are on H1 extension, right? Right now. So as per your employment contract with your employer, are they paying you right now? Or
they are.
You are on the bench and they don't pay you?
Yeah, I tell you that. That's a good point you brought in. Okay. So when I'm on a bench, lawfully, they must pay, right? So that's what I know. But some people, they want you, they forcefully do certain things for you. If I want to keep your status active, you must do this. You must do this. Since they are your boss, you have to do whatever they say.
No,
if you don't do that,
you can be open, right? We know everything on this story, right? One other victim, he said he paid money from his pocket to the employer in cash to run his payroll, to keep his status on active and be on H-1B and stay in the country. So have you been asked by your employer to pay money to run your payroll? Is that what you're saying?
No, I never been asked to pay money back to him. Even if he asks, I don't pay him, because I tell him upfront, I'm not that dumb to give you money, okay? Because I know the rules, at least now. Maybe initially when I came here, I don't know anything. I did whatever all you guys said, but now I'm a bit smarter, okay? Because I understood all these things. Even if you ask me, I don't give you. But they asked me a different thing, to tell them that I went on a leave, things like that.
Yes,
So
that
I
is
have to
also the
do.
possibility. What you are saying is also happen, that you give it in writing, saying that like you are on leave, right? But you cannot be on leave for more than 1 week or 2 weeks and continue to stay there, right? Even for medical reasons, right? You have to
So
provide.
okay, on that thing, right? So let's say if I went on leave more than 2 weeks, do they have to pay the salary or no in that situation?
Yes, they have to. That's what I'm trying
They
to.
have to. They have to. Yes, exactly.
In
That's what.
case of, right? So in one other victim's case, he was asked to give in writing saying that he's going abroad, he's going back to India for 2 months and he's on vacation, so that they don't have to run the payroll. And then that is also a violation. That is also a fraud. If USCIS finds out, they will be prosecuted. That's what I'm saying. People
So
have
they
been
get
asked to provide.
Yeah, definitely. They gets prosecuted, but what happens to the victim? Will he get deported, or what is his situation at that time?
No, that is the wrong misconception. Everybody believes, right? Harold's our popular person. If he is here, like he will explain you, right? They will threaten you that like you will be deported, you will be jailed, handcuffed, all those things. Nothing is going to happen as long as you don't commit any crime and end up in police. Nobody is coming after you, because maintaining your status is your responsibility, the individual responsibility. It is not the employer's responsibility.
Yeah, in my case, I'm being jailed. At this point, I have a charge that I'm fighting. So I don't know if they treat me as a criminal or whatever. But what I'm saying is, after spending 10 years of my valuable time here, if you put me a charge on me and I get deported, I see that it's a problem to me. So. So definitely, I mean, people do commit crimes in various scenarios. It's you show me some person who never committed a crime, so I kill myself in front of you. If you show me a person like that in the world, okay. So in the type of world we're living in today, you show me that, I know crimes happen. Sometimes they happen by intention. Sometimes you don't want to commit, but something else happens that pushes you to commit crime. So in my case, it's a clear case of entrapment. Someone forced me to commit that crime. So in that case, I think it differently. So somebody is playing a game with me because I'm so stubborn and stayed in the system for 10 years and fighting this fight.
Well, that's what I was just about to get at, Krishna. That, when you brought that up in terms of being in jail. So this is something that your employer put you up to? Is this something your employer kind of twisted your arm, and is that the reason why you ended up locked up? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
That could be a possibility, because I see a lot of scams in this policing also, right? Maybe you seen certain incidents recently, George Floyd and all that. The life before George Floyd was totally different in America, because I've been through that whole life, and after George Floyd, a lot of things have changed. People started to believe that the world is watching us, so you must behave nicely now. So a lot of people changed after that, but the world before the US before that was a totally different animal. I've seen those situations. So coming back to your questions, it is possible that there is some type of drama that happened with me. And because my car was also involved in an accident recently. So it got totaled at a traffic sign. So we stopped at a traffic sign.
Mhm.
Some uninsured motorist came and bumped my car with so much speed, and my car went on colliding with other two cars in front. All the three cars got damaged. And
Oh, wow.
when we look at his insurance, he is an uninsured motorist. His insurance policy is expired. So when you have an expired policy, how can you drive at that speed? How can you so reckless at a traffic sign and hit damage three cars? I don't know if that person got arrested for violating the law of driving with an expired insurance. I don't know. I mean, in that scenario, I don't know if that law is applicable to that person, or is it only applicable to the immigrants who come to this country, right? So I don't know.
If you, they're probably going to have their license revoked in that case is likely what's going to happen, especially if they caused damage to that many vehicles and were speeding as well. It's pretty hefty to have any kind of accident if you're uninsured, and
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, it is a thing that does have some harsh consequences on it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this is a good start. So let's wrap up, like, because Krishna, your story is it's an ongoing thing, right? We can do part two or even
No,
as
I'm saying I fight all these fronts now. I fight the legal front to deal with my case. I appointed a lawyer. I
Mhm.
fight that front. I also joined this fight also because I see this system is so broken that it doesn't help the beneficiary.
Mm.
yeah, again, right? So we will continue it. That is why, like, I just want to thank you so much and for coming forward. And also, you are welcome to join our team. We will explore more options, and also you can contribute and share more information, and we can have this conversation continuing. And let's wrap up for this week episode if you all agree to that.
I mean, absolutely. And I echo your thoughts, JK. I want to thank Krishna for taking the time to tell his story. This won't be the last that you hear of this story here at Stop Now. But I do want to thank you, Krishna, for sharing with us, because that's the only way folks are going to get educated about this. On all sides of this issue with the H-1B visa is through hearing stories and firsthand accounts. So I thank you for your time, Walter. Any final thoughts as we wrap up this week?
Yeah, to continue this conversation, we can get more into the story and everything that is going on, so we can have a good example of what can happen in the system happens that happens far too often, that I've been researching and writing
Mhm.
about. So there's a lot to uncover here.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that Krishna spoke to that I want to dig more into as we, talk about this story more, and as, you and JK continue these experiments, Walter, is that an idea can start, a program can start, a government agency can start with good intentions and good ideas, and, wanting to do something that is outwardly noble, but things can change over time. And so I'd like to get deeper into kind of the origins of the H-1B and what it is today. I think that is a fascinating kind of topic for down the road.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So thank you once again, Krishna, for joining us and being so open with your story. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I just have a question to kind of ask you, because I just want to ask you. So you running this program to kind of educate the people with all these real world stories, or do you also help those people who are sharing these stories?
Mm.
Yes, to answer that, Krishna,
Yes,
yes.
that's one of the. I was going to say, JK, I was going to toss it over to you, but that is one of the goals here at Stop Now, is to help move people from being victims to survivors to thrivers.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. So we will explore more, and I will walk you through the next steps, and we will try to work with you and see a good solution on that. And we are running an experiment lab. I'll talk about it offline on those things, and we will do the next part probably in the coming weeks at a later time when you are available.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And again, thank you to everybody who tuned in this week. We really appreciate it. If you want to learn more about what we do here at Stop Now and hear more of these stories, you can go online to stop-now.org. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, so that way you'll always be informed about what we are doing here on the channel. But that is going to bring this week's episode to a close. Want to thank Krishna again. Want to thank Walter, as always, for being a part of the team. And of course, our own Steven Spielberg, JK. We want to thank you, JK, for being our director this week.
Thank you all. Bye for now.